stay on topic. There is a motion on the floor to seek an opinion from Mr. Wilson regarding the process to appoint a person to the District 2 seat. Is that what you're seeking, his opinion on how the council needs to move forward with that?
I have 3 questions I needed answers from him on.
Okay. And you have a second to that motion. You want him to answer 3 questions?
What were those questions again? Can you give me those questions again?
Yes.
I know the first one was the process for appointing a council person to District 2 seat.
Was it proper for Terry Moore to switch her party affiliation right after she was elected as county executive?
That's not a question for this council. I can't answer that. That's something that you should probably get a separate attorney's opinion.
That's an answer. That's an answer. There you go. Number 2, 209. The appointee shall meet the same qualifications and residency requirements. And when succeeding a party member shall be a member of the same political party as the person who vacated office. It is my understanding that there were 2 members of the charter board who have admitted that this clause was never intended to be used in the manner in which Ms. Moore did. Does this hold any relevancy to challenge in court? And you would answer probably that that's, if you wanted to challenge that personally, that. Okay.
I mean, if you want to challenge that person, that's up to you. I
Okay.
don't know that that's a council's question.
That's still an answer. That's your
No,
answer.
that's.
Number 3.
I have this answer right now.
If we received direction from any of the attorneys that it was proper for the newly elected county executive to switch her party, and we consider names regardless of party affiliation, how many names do we consider?
I would say whatever names have been submitted.
Okay, and is the county executive restricted to the names that were considered?
Were submitted, yes.
Where do you get that?
Where I get that?
Yeah.
209 says, if the council fails to fill the vacancy provided the appointee is nominated in accordance with the provisions of this section and meets the qualification residence. But it would be under D. If the council fails to fill a vacancy pursuant to the provisions of this section, and the executive shall appoint a person to fill the vacancy, provided the appointee is nominated in accordance with the provisions of this section and meets the qualification residence requirements.
So it goes back to B as, can I see that real quick? Because I don't think it's clear.
If you're looking for, if she were a member of a particular party, be it Republican or Democrat, then I think it would be up to the state central committee of that to nominate what have you. But as I understand it, not being part of the election board, that she was not, when she resigned, she was not a member of a political party. And therefore, you've asked for people to present names for possible appointment to this position, and they have to be residents of Council 2 district for at least what, 6 months? I think it's 6 months. 6 months. And they are then, in my opinion, eligible to be appointed by the county executive. You all don't come to some agreement within 30 days on December 30th.
So just to be clear, if provided the appointee meets the qualifications and residency requirements provided in subsection B of this section, in there it says that it's the remaining council members within 30 days shall appoint a person to serve. The appointee shall be selected by a majority vote of the remaining council members. The appointee shall meet the same qualifications and residence requirements, and when succeed. It doesn't say, though, specifically that she's restricted to those names. So would you agree that that's a gray area?
It's not great.
I can't. You
No,
know, sit here and flip-flop all over the place. I told you what it was. That's all. I told you that I
Well,
think.
show me where it says that she's restricted to those names that the council puts forward.
In section 209, it says that she has to follow a procedure as set forth in that particular section. It's 209, I
Section
think.
B doesn't have any.
But it also distinguishes between party affiliation and non-party affiliation.
Right, party
Yeah.
affiliation is very specific, non-affiliated, it's not.
That's why the judge is sitting up there. I'm just a lowly non-contractor.
My fear is that we can have 100 attorneys review this and have 100 different opinions. And I'm certain that we, the council members, would pick the attorneys that would agree to our opinion. So I don't see the purpose of going out and getting legal advice. I think the charter is very clear. If the council member vacating the office is not a member of a political party, the council shall appoint the person it deems best qualified. And I think that is the most important phrase out of this whole discussion. Best qualified to hold this office regardless of his or her party affiliation. If any, provided the appointee meets the qualifications and residency requirements provided in subsection of this. So the ball was put into our court for us to determine the best qualified. And that best qualified, if we, the council, agreed, could have been a Republican.
Exactly.
Okay, but two members of this council have refused to even sit down and talk about qualifications and a process on how to select. And we could have easily done that on day one, sat down and said, okay, we want to go with the Central Committee, or we want to go with an application process, an interview process, we want to do anything. But for the life of me, I don't understand why you have repeatedly refused to sit down and go through a process that we can make that choice and come up with the best qualified candidate.
I'm surprised that you're in the dark about that because we discussed it.
No, I'm not in the dark. I've been asking repeatedly for this council
And
to
I've
move
given you
forward.
an answer as to, we were awaiting some guidance on how to proceed. And now, Ms. McCarthy, please don't interrupt. Now we're at the point, I was waiting for the Central Committee names to come forward to make sure that if it's found that any one of these procedures was not followed correctly. Because we've already had feedback from charter board members that that was never the intent or the spirit of the charter for the party switch to occur in the manner it did. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't keep my options open for a remedy later. If one, hold on a minute, if one is available. At this point, the Central Committee has provided the names that I would be willing to consider. And if you believe that it's unaffiliated or any party affiliation, then you can go ahead and consider those names, but I believe it's Republican. And I think there may be on that list, the 3-person list they forwarded, there may be someone on there that you think is qualified. And if we can get a consensus, a majority vote, we can move ahead. But if not, that's for on timeout.
If I might say something, at the morning work session on December 11th, the motion was made by Councilman Hodge. He moved to proceed with a press release announcing a vacant District 2 council seat and requested an expression of interest from qualified citizens. That was denied. Mr. Hodge has done everything he humanly can do to open this up to Republicans. I, as of this moment, do not know of a single solitary person officially who's even applied for this position.
Ms.
If there is someone, please tell me who that person might be.
Let me know when you're done talking.
I am done for the moment.
Okay. just explained to you, I believe that the Republican Central Committee was the correct process to follow. I understand with all due respect, you do not believe that.
But you never said that until today.
Who are these candidates you are
I've said
referring
it to you, Mr. Hodge, we've had plenty of conversations, and I've explained to you what I was waiting for.
For the record, if we were gonna have a process, and we might have agreed that we would allow the subcommittee to nominate 3 people to the exclusion of all others. We may have agreed that, but we didn't. We didn't have a discussion at all. You refused to have a discussion on how we would move forward with this process.
No, I explained fully to what
Refer this to her.
concern was. Ms. McCarthy, could you please control your temper? Let's have a
It's not my
discussion.
temper. We sit here and ruminate over this stuff, and it's crazy.
Well, I'm telling you, we may have an option not to ruminate anymore and get down to business.
We have asked you repeatedly to basically move forward with this nomination process, and if you don't do it, it will be out of our hands very, very soon.
You want me to move forward with a nomination process that I feel is illegal, is
Well, then take them to court.
But, right.
You have
I'd
every
like-
option
I'd
to
like-
pursue legal
that might be a
clarification
possibility
here.
in the future.
Well, then do it. Stop talking about it and do it.
I will do it on my own.
Order.
Well, then do it
please.
yourself. We're not complaining about
Council,
this.
council, please.
I'd like to call the vote on the motion, please.
We have a motion on the floor to seek an opinion from Mr.
Which
Wilson,
we
which
already
I think
received.
he's already provided. But there was a motion on the floor to seek an opinion from Mr. Wilson on the 3 questions that were brought forward by Councilwoman Brunel. There was a second by Commissioner Dunn. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your opinion anyway. Which you provided.
Let me make one reference. If we can put this to rest with Mr. Wilson's opinion today, I will gladly change my vote.
But that-
If it's a standing conclusion that his opinion will stand, then I will basically change my vote and side with you.
So, Ms. McCarthy, if you get your way, everything will be fine.
I'm not getting my way. You're the one who asked him for an opinion. I'm saying that I will go along if you will accept the opinion that you requested.
You're listening.
If you will not accept the opinion you requested, don't embarrass this man.
I was not embarrassing this man. I was getting the information I need.
I don't think that you want information.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session to review the 3 Central Committee names.
Which Central Committee people are you referring to?
Did you get,
The list that was emailed to you,
When was this emailed to me?
I believe it was Friday. Have you checked
I
your
don't see
email?
anything. You're welcome to go through all my emails.
Well, obviously you didn't talk to Robert about it, so maybe
Wow.
you should ask him, but,
We'll
I
tell
guess
you
I'll,
what,
I'll second that motion. I think.
There's a motion on the floor to go into closed
I would
session.
be willing to share information about those 3 people if you're totally in the dark, Mr. McCarthy.
Well,
There's a motion on the floor to go into closed session to discuss the appointments that were forwarded by the Republican Central Committee. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No, but we skipped the discussion, but I'd like to explain my no vote. My no vote on discussing these 3 is because I know for a fact that there's been multiple people that have made application for this position. Some of them have gone through the Central Committee vetting process and some of them have not. I know that there's been other people that have been wondering what they're supposed to do, that they want to step forward. But we, the council, have failed to provide a process for them to be considered. I believe strongly that the best qualified person should be appointed to this position. I don't think the Central Committee did a good job of qualifying the best qualified candidates. Not to say that they're not. That it's possible that one of those 3 could be the best qualified. But, on the other hand, from what I heard from the questionings, it wasn't the most qualified candidate, it was the most qualified Republican. And I want to serve with the most qualified candidates that are committed to the job and have life experiences, professional experiences, and some skill sets that can be used here at the table to make important decisions for the county. Not whether they're a good Republican or not. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to preclude others from the discussion of best qualified and limit it to the Senate Committee's recommended list. So that was the reason for my no vote.
Well, Commissioner Hodge, you said you didn't know if they were the best qualified. Why not go into closed session, and if you find that they're not, in your opinion, just say no, just vote no?
Because there are many others
Well, you
that
can
are
still vote
interested
no.
in this job, and I
I'd
don't
like to
want.
have the discussion to hear you say why each one of these three people are not the most qualified.
What about the other 100 people that want this job? And I'm not gonna, you want me to just go into a room and badmouth somebody, is that what you want? Or even say good things. I don't want to have a discussion about the three people. I want to talk about all of the people that could have been considered and should have been considered.
Ms. Moore was elected as a Republican to county executive. Is that not correct? Wasn't the Republican Central Committee elected to fill vacancies? Didn't the voters entrust that to them? Do you agree with that, Mr. Hodge? You're on the Republican Central Committee at one time.
I was.
You remember what the job was?
I
It
do.
was recruitment
I do.
and
I did, the
filling a
charter
vacancy.
clearly says that the council shall appoint the person deemed best qualified to hold the office, regardless of his or her
Well,
party.
the big question.
But I have to tell you that I believe, if this is all about the party, I think that we're really not working in the best interest of the citizens, number one. And number two is, at the end of the day, I think that, to the best of my knowledge, only Republicans have stepped up to be considered. I don't know of any application from anyone else that I know of that's qualified, that is not a Republican. So at the end of the day, I believe that it will be a Republican. I am not losing sleep over the fact that it will be a Republican or not. What I am losing sleep is the most qualified, and I don't think that we have allowed, the council has not allowed a due process for people to step up and be considered.
Well, I think that would have been a good thing to disclose when you were running for office and Ms. Moore was running for office, that this was going to take place, that they were willing to open it up and bypass the Republican Central Committee in picking their replacement.
There was a motion that was made and seconded to go into closed session, and that was a 2-2 vote, so there was no closed session.
Could I ask one question? How do we find out who's even applied for this position? I mean, is this a secret?
Check your email,
Which email was it sent to, I might ask?
ccgov.org.
Okay, that's
Have
why.
you checked that one before? Yeah.
No, I have not checked it.
Okay, maybe you should check.
Maybe you should send it to something I do check.
Right, it fixes the
Okay, I guess we will move on.
What was the vote?
There's a closed session. Mr. Wilson gave his opinion, even though it was a 2-2 vote.
2-2.
So the next item on the agenda is discussion establishing criteria for confirming all appointments to be made by the council. And Councilman Hodge, that is yours.
Yes, the county executive came forward with an appointment for administrator, director of administration. And I guess I was a little bit caught off guard on why we decided not to approve this appointment. And I guess what I'd like to have established is some criteria or some parameters on what we, the council, would like to see moving forward on these appointments. And so if we say that we want to have a resume, do we want to see a letter of background, do we want to see the long-form disclosure documents? I mean, I guess I'd like to have a discussion on what are our expectations when the executive puts forward future appointments. For me to understand where we're coming from and just for the preparation for the executive to understand what she needs to provide for us to move these appointments forward.
Commissioner Hodge, did you get the email from the Ethics Commission confirming that it was a reasonable part of the confirmation process to request the full disclosure that is required now of our directors?
I did see the email. I personally disagree with their opinion, but that doesn't matter. The fact is, I want to know what we, the council, believe in moving forward. We can go into the discussion about the Ethics Commission's opinion at a later time. But I guess the question is, are we going to require long-form disclosure forms with the application for all applicants? And I guess we can go moving on to the boards and commissions. Are we, the council, going to be reviewing ethics forms? Is that our job? Is that our role to review these forms? I thought that's what the role of the Ethics Commission was to do, to understand and read them and make sure that they're submitted. And I personally do not want to have to review appointees' ethics forms. It's not my business, and I would prefer that job to be done by the people that are trained and knowledgeable in that business.
Commissioner Hodge, for the reason I requested that the ethics changes be adopted, the same reason why I think it's good information, just to verify there's no potential conflict of interest or previously. And I have gotten a lot of feedback from the public that they support that and see it as just common sense. Why wouldn't you want to look?
So you, as a member of the council, want to look at all the ethics disclosure forms?
For the directors.
Okay, what about others? What about volunteers for boards and commissions?
I can see the value in that.
Is there anything else that you wanted to see?
Commissioner Hodge, why do you think that's over intrusive?
Because I don't think that's our role. I don't think that we should be delving into people's personal lives and their financial business.
That's your personal belief. I think otherwise. When it's public service, I've seen over the years that there's a lot of people that participate because of personal things that they can gain.
You've made that accusation multiple times. Would you please list one? And if it's
Ryan
true,
Lockhart.
if it's true, why haven't you filed ethics complaints?
Someone already did, and the process failed.
Could you explain failed?
Yes, actually, we spent tens of thousands of dollars on an investigation, and there was enough to put forward a public hearing. Because Mike Burns said that he couldn't get the other ethics commission member to meet him, to show up for the meeting, they couldn't schedule the hearing. All they could do was get Brian Lockhart to sign an agreement not to participate in county business with Artesian, but the damage had already been done.
And what was the damage?
It was the specific dealings of, I believe, Aston Point, Artesian,
Aston Point was
being on the
damaged.
board of Cecil Bank, business interests, investments.
But he didn't do anything illegal per se. He was not taken to court. He was not tried, convicted, anything of that degree. He just
Agree
not think, I'm sorry,
He agreed there was enough that he could get in trouble with, and he,
so he withdrew from his positions, correct?
he signed an agreement not to, what should have done was a full hearing, should have, and I'd like, you know, this is the taxpayer money that was used to fund the investigation. I think it would be proper for him to release those documents so the public could see what the findings were. If there's nothing to hide, let him release them.
No.
Do you support that,
To
Mr.
the best
McCarthy?
of- I mean, I think that Mr. Lockhart would be certainly advised to release any conflicts of interest he might have. But I might also say that he was not convicted of committing a crime, and Brian Lockhart has provided this county some very valuable service for many years. And prior to that, he had a life which basically allowed him to come to this position. So I think all these things should be taken into consideration.
The topic of discussion is establishing criteria for confirming all appointments to be made by the council.
I don't think we should be limited by any list.
Could you explain that, please?
Well, I know basically what I'm gonna look at the resume, I'm gonna look at the disclosure statement, I'm gonna look at previous history. If they've been serving before, you know, anything that might be related.
And Al Wine's previous history of 18 years or more than 20 years.
Actually, it's 21 years, Mr. Hodge.
Concerns you?
I didn't say it concerns me, I said it was a consideration, that's what I'm gonna be looking at.
What would be necessary to be in the good graces of council?
We done? Is there any more comments?
So at the end of the day, there is no criteria, there is no parameters, we're gonna make it up as we go.
I didn't say we were making it up as we go, I think we can utilize the information we have available to us.
Mr. Hodge, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hodge, you're asking for a basic guideline on how we select the people that serve in these positions. Is that what you're
How to
asking?
confirm appointments.
Exactly.
How are we going to confirm appointments?
It's usually
But
by a vote.
more importantly, so there isn't.
There's a vote,
A what?
there's a vote. We review the information, there might be
But
additional information that we request.
what is the information that we request? I mean, that's the question. How can the executive be prepared with an appointment if she doesn't know what you want?
I think what Al Wine presented in the beginning, and I commended him for doing that, the disclosure statement, the resume, what else was there? Was that basically it?
Qualifications for a position would be important.
If she starts there, you know, that's fine, I think that would be the basic information we would be, needing. However, if there is additional information that, might come to light, we could request, I wouldn't want to, take that off the table.
We're not asking you to do that. What I would like to see is basically, you need to fulfill these parameters, these goals, and then anything else that the council might ask. How would that be? I mean, specifically.
I don't want to say that this is the limit there may be unique and special circumstances for certain individuals that we may want to ask for additional information. But generally, I'd like to know the framework of what we think would be important for us to make a good decision.
It's not complicated, what they provided was a good start.
Mike, do you have any other thoughts on this issue?
No, I don't.
Council items?
Sorry.
Councilman McCarthy, council items?
Is this where you make your public comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my name is Alan McCarthy. I'm relatively new to this position. This is my third week in this seat. I come here without any axe to grind. I come here with basically no political or basically special interests that I represent. I want you folks to know that I am here to do what I believe will be in the best interest of the citizens and also Cecil County in the near term and also most possibly in the long term. If I do something, I do it for your benefit, in my view. If I elect to do nothing, I also do that in your benefit. Thank you very much.
Councilman Hodge?
No comments today.
Councilman Dunn?
Well, based on what I've seen this morning, the refusal to discuss the 3 names from the Central Committee, the action to administratively volunteer map, it's clear to me we're becoming some sort of banana republic. We've turned into a third world dictatorship under Queen Terry I. And it appears to me the fix is in, and that January 3rd, yet another Hodgmore puppet will be installed into office, and it's my hope that at least this one can be maybe bothered to check their email and do their job. I don't know. Thank you.
Well, if you go to my website, dianagrummel.com, I have a history of charter. And right from the very beginning, we objected to the charter board being implemented. It was done so in a closed session to decide to move forward with charter. It was in March of 2009, I believe. This was after the county funded alternative forms of government forums. Over $10,000 was invested in this, and hearings were held throughout the county to educate the public and to, at the very end, to get a straw poll vote of which form of government they wanted. And they voted for code home rule. And it went back and forth as to whether the Board of County Commissioners at that time would support, ultimately not taking any action. Then enter the new elected officials, which were, I believe, Commissioner Tome, Commissioner Mullen, Commissioner Hodge. And during that period of time, they voted to go to charter, to form a charter board. And the first thing you see is where the board nominees are announced and they're voted on. So Commissioner Hodge many times says, I never voted for charter. He did when he voted for that charter board, because there was never a vote to adopt the charter that was put together by the charter board. The reason why there's been 5 failed times previously in the charter attempt to pass the referendum is because the citizens were so suspicious of the county executive having so much power. Not only does the county executive have a lot of power, now she will control the legislative side as well. She will have supreme power. And judging by what she has supported in the past, and I can't see that the taxes won't be going up. That there will be a lot of special interest support and initiatives, and the ultimate common good of the county will be usurped. So I'm very sad to see this happen. I did everything I could personally to try and make the process fair. But the special interests, which we see, I wish, you know, we did have video recorded meetings and we could point the camera out to the audience. These same people have attended each of these meetings for 2 years. And some of these people were supposed to be Tea Party, but they certainly were not supporting Tea Party values. Fiscal responsibility, transparency, accountability. No, that wasn't Tea Party. So, it's just a sad day in Cecil County history, in my opinion. So, I also wanted, I received an email from Angela Blodgett, and I checked with her, and she said it was fine to share this. She attended the Santa Night at the Holly Tree. I was thoroughly amazed at how many volunteers contributed to this event. We waited in line for 1.5 hours to see Santa. While waiting, we met several people, many of whom were excited their children could see Santa for free and have such a great experience. The children were able to receive either a toy or coat, and it appeared many of the families were really grateful. Many of the parents conversing mentioned without this event, their children would not have been able to see Santa. How sad. This was our first year seeing Santa at this event, but we visit the Holly Tree every year. I began visiting the Holly Tree when I was an infant and continued the tradition with my daughter. And she just wanted to let us know how much the volunteers in Ray of Hope did, and what a good job they did, and many parents and children look forward to this every year. So just wanted to commend Ray of Hope for their act of kindness and doing something, for not trying to get anything out of it. And I think council, county executive might want to follow that example. Thank you.
That concludes the,
Vicki?
council items that,
Do you have any one statement? Please.
I would prefer that you go, if that's okay. Thank you. That concludes our council comments. There's a citizens corner this evening at 6 o'clock in the up room, and there's a evening meeting at 7. I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. I have a motion and a second. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?